Hey, what's good, y'all? Josh from Mallet here, and we're back with another video, but we got something a little different. We're going to be talking all about how your hi-hat can really change how people feel your beat. Let's just jump right in, and I'll explain the technical stuff after. Here's a simple straight eighth pattern. So that's 8 notes within a 4/4 measure. What if we keep the same amount of notes, but we just change their placement up to emphasize a triplet swing? Check this out. Really different. So what if we, instead of doing 8 notes per measure, we drop to 6 and we do a dotted eighth pattern? So you might have heard that before, but that's actually the basis of a lot of these UK drill beats that are really popping off right now, where they're using dotted 16ths and dotted eighths, where there's 6 notes or a similar division per measure. Now let's jump to another 6, but just keep in mind, just by changing the hi-hat, not touching the kick and the snare at all, we're getting a super different sound from our pattern. Sweet. So that's 6 per measure. And that sounds a lot like the triplet flow of like artists like Migos and stuff. And that's because that's exactly what they're doing. They're dividing a 4/4 measure up into 6 notes. So another cool thing you can do with your hi-hat, and if you take this a step further, you get something super unusual. Listen to this. Again, you might have heard rappers do this, but you can do it with your beats too and get something that a lot of producers don't do, and that's dividing a 4/4 measure up into 5 notes per measure, and you get something called a quintuplet. Quin meaning 5. So that's something super cool, and if you can put that into your beats in some way, you might have something really unique. Now, if we go straight back to 101, you have 4 notes in a 4/4 measure, exactly what it's built for. Quarter note patterns. And the last one I'm going to show you guys is if you do dotted quarter notes, where you divide the 4/4 measure into 3 notes. Then we'll talk about a little bit of how this works. Why is it working? So you get the idea. We're just changing the hi-hat, not touching the kick, not touching the snare, but we're getting a completely different groove. And that groove is based on a concept called pulse. Pulse is all about repeating patterns between accents within a meter. So if we're in 4/4 and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, we can fit 2 notes within a beat and we could get something like an eighth note pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we listen, there's going to be 2 notes per beat. If I turn on the Met, so you can't hear the Met that well, but you get the idea. And we can just keep changing that until, say, we have 1 note per beat. We have quarter notes. So you see what I mean? Just by shifting around these patterns in the hi-hat, and by patterns, I mean like literally values that repeat. 2 notes per beat repeating over the entire measure, etc. 6 notes in a single measure, stuff like that. You get these way different sounds, and that's all about the pulse, where these patterns are within the measure. Now, it might be a kind of like complicated concept. There's definitely more you could dig into with music theory if you want to research things like how does meter compare to pulse and all that stuff. But as far as producing goes, you have the tools to really directly access this just through your hi-hat and your other drums. So next time you're making a beat, think of, what can I do with my hi-hat to add some variety without even touching the time signature or the BPM, or just sticking with the standard stuff. I hope that helps you guys, and if it did, leave a comment below on what you want to see next, or if you got some feedback for me. I'm always all ears. Feel free to subscribe too, and go ahead and check out my 808 pack, 25 808s for $5 at the link in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.